Hey Hofstra fans, welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Connor Giblin today speaking with the head coach of Hofstra Pride Field Hockey, Kathy Angelis. Coach, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We haven't had you on the program since 2014, so I guess why don't we start with what's been going on in the off-season?
Well, we had a great off-season and worked extremely hard on our technical skills, saw a lot of improvement. Off the field, we did a lot of conditioning with Coach Joe and saw a lot of improvement there. Overall, we had a great spring. It was great to have a huge number, and we only lost 3 seniors last year, so it's nice to have those numbers in the off-season. And I think it was great and prepared us well to where we are right now.
Last year you finished 12-7 with over a 500 record for the first time since 2011, but lost the final 2 games to miss the CAA tournament. Is that kind of the focus in this year's preseason, kind of amending last year's losses?
Well, I think we use that type of a weekend as a motivator when we can, and we really want to be able to play where we left off last fall, and take that from that weekend of losing and virtually being number 1 and number 2, and then being bumped out of the tournament because of that final weekend. We're using that as an intrinsic motivator to put us in a position that we want to play right from where we left off and not take a step back. And that's really been the type of standard that we're trying to create during preseason. We don't want to start from scratch. It's leaving where we left off. It's not easy to do, but it's really been, we've set the tone that far this week. So I think it's the players are adjusting to that, and I think they really believe in that.
You mentioned before that you lost 3 seniors last year, including the 2014 CAA Player of the Year, Janelle Boileau. How do you look to replace her production on the field?
Well, Janelle, she's not a replaceable player. We're just learning to play without Janelle, and we've got a lot of scoring threats, and not just on the striker line, but in the midline and players in the back line who are on the attack corners, and we're going to have to get scoring from different areas, different people. And we've got a lot of people who can put it behind the net, so we're going to be depending on a lot of different people. The good thing is we do have a lot of different people, so I think that's going to help complement the loss of Janelle.
You really do have a strong offense, of course, led by Stella Schern and Claudia Marin-Samper. How vital will they be towards carrying the offense this year?
Oh, they're going to be huge, and those are the 2 players that we're going to look for. They're the most prolific scorers that we have on the field. I think the great thing is we have a lot of other strikers who can play with them, and they mesh really, really well. There's nothing frothy with losing Janelle. We're able to put other players in there, and they really have matured so much in this past year. I mean, they're still in their junior year, but they're stepping up as great leaders and great ambassadors. And what I've been really, really impressed with those 2 players in particular is they're really helping the younger guys. And I think it's just that motivation and that teaching that they're giving them is just an added benefit.
Well, the offense gets a lot of attention. We don't really focus a lot on the defense, which silently gets the job done. Specifically, Kara Swan in her freshman year last season. What are the expectations for her in her second season?
Well, the expectation is always a little bit greater, and she's had a year under her belt, and coming in as a freshman and getting those starts that she did, I think is impressive enough as it is. Also, other keeper, Lauren Saltis, was faced with a concussion and was out the latter part of the season, and then missed our final few weekends of CA. So we've got a lot of parity between the 2 goalkeepers once again. Like I said, Karis is having a great start. She's a lot fitter than she was last year. She's played a lot of hockey over the summer, so I think she's definitely much sharper than she was in her freshman campaign. So we're excited just to see how she performs early.
Season opener coming up this Friday, the 28th, against Vermont, a team they actually faced last year and did beat. Does it help that, despite the fact that you played them last year, does that help in the preparation in advance of the home opener?
Well, we know we beat them last year, but every year is a different year, and I know that they're going to be a lot stronger than they were last year. I believe we're a lot stronger than we were last year. Certainly, I think they're going to come in here with a very competitive mindset and use last year that we beat them at home. We won their classic, and I think anytime you do that, when you beat a team and when the whole weekend's tournament, they're going to come back with a stronger mentality and physically do what they can to not let that happen again. So if anything, it's it's a first opening game for us and obviously for them. So I think it's going to be a great game, but I think it's going to be a very challenging game.
So, Coach, before we let you go, what do you need to do in order to grab that first win in 2015?
Well, I think the most important thing, and what we've been saying about preseason, it is all about the team, and we are creating that team attitude. And I think the nice thing is, and the great thing is, with the new players coming in, they really bought into that, and they know it is team first. And if that's what I'm going to say, anything about preseason and an opener, it's about team first. And if we can play that way, I think we'll start out with a nice win.
All right, once again, the season opener coming up this Friday, August 28th. And Coach of Hofstra Pride, Kathy DeAngelis. Coach, good luck on Friday.
Great, thank you very much.
This has been the W. Mason Coaches Report with Kathy DeAngelis on GoHofstra.com. Thanks for tuning in.